Hello and welcome to episode 37 of Things We Play. It's Tuesday the 2nd of October. My name's Mike Oldman and I am joined by Joe Tanetta.
Hello.
And Sean Hart.
How you doing?
Me?
Everyone.
Oh. Well, let's wait for them to answer.
It's an omni question.
Omni question.
Yeah.
The future of questioning. Yeah, cool. Well, I'm alright. That's the main thing, I suppose. How are you, Joe?
I'm good.
And you're alright, Sean?
Yeah, not too bad.
So everyone's pretty good, which is also good. 7 days have passed since our last gleaming episode, and some stuff's happened. The Eurogamer Expo happened up in wherever it is.
Earls Court
in London.
I think that's where I went. I'm not 100% sure.
That's right, because you went. You went.
Indeed, I did.
Which is
yes.
kind of exciting.
Was it that early that you didn't know?
Well, I was operating on less than 3 hours sleep, so you know.
And Joe doesn't operate at his optimum, even with like 12 hours sleep, which is
generally about 7's pretty good. 12's a bit too much.
Okay. So that happened. We went and saw Dread, Sean, which was something that happened, and I filmed a music video. So without further ado, let's get into episode 37 of Things We Play. Joe, tell me about your week. You went to Eurogamer. What was that like?
Eurogamer was awesome. It was last year as well. I really enjoyed going up.
We're not interested in last year's Eurogamer.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. I mean, that's an odd thing to bring up, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I don't know why I did say that.
Any other events that you want to talk about? I saw the Bee Gees in concert once, in 1993, but it's not worth mentioning now.
Was it good though?
It was alright. Yeah.
I don't mind the Bee Gees, strangely.
It was alright. Yeah, so, okay, Eurogamer. This year's Eurogamer. 2012 Eurogamer,
Yep.
just to clarify for everyone that's listening. What was it like?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to go back up there and have a look around, see all the new stuff that's come in.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that's got better every year. It started off quite small and without any, like, it was like, hey, do you want to see a game and play a game that's out already? Then come to Eurogamer and that will be that, and people will try and sell you stuff. And now it's sort of more akin to almost like Gamescom.
Yeah, it has, got a bigger fan base to it now.
Yeah.
It seemed a lot bigger than last year's did.
Well, and they get exclusives now. They get stuff that's like, oh, that's cool, I can go and see that at Eurogamer, and there's a big press side to it beforehand as well, where they show off stuff and do like developer chats and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good. And there was quite a lot of games there this year.
Yeah, there was a long list.
Okay, we'll get to those.
Yep.
But I want to know, first of all, did you see a fat princess?
No, I did say while I was up there, I've got to find a fat Princess Peach, but didn't find one.
It's just...
Did see about 4 Lara Crofts.
It's that awesome moment. I think we've even talked about this on the show before, where you're like, oh man, it's Fat Princess. And you're like, yeah, great Fat Princess costume. And she's like, yeah, I'm actually Princess Peach. And he's like, oh, well, great costume, Yeah, so what any standout cosplay?
Big Boss was pretty awesome, but he was hanging around the 25-year booth for Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
So they had like loads of old TV set up, and they were running from like the original Metal Gears all the way up.
All right.
And his outfit was awesome.
But he was an official dude,
I think
right?
He was, because he was just hanging around the entire time.
Yeah.
I did see at some point Notacon turned up to talk to him. There was a sniper wolf who had a little stuffed wolf with a heart stuck to its head. She was just dragging it round with her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it, but no Solid Snake?
No, there was no Solid Snake that I noticed whilst walking around.
That's weird.
Yeah, a bit.
That's kind of weird. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Anything other than Metal Gear cosplay?
Resident Evil were doing, like, throughout the day, they were painting new people as zombies.
Okay.
And they had all sorts of people walking around for the booth. They were really good actors as well for, pretending to be zombies. There was a great reaction. There was...
No, so I was just going to say, how do you know? Like, how do you know, like, that? Like, that's a well-acted zombie.
Well, because, you have those terrible zombies that just walk around doing nothing, and these ones were just always...
I hate those zombies. Those ones that walk around doing nothing.
Yeah,
they don't even bite people. No. They're barely spreading the virus.
No, these ones were just, like,
lazy
sneaking up on
zombies.
People. These ones were
There's
sneaking...
a game in that.
Sneaking up, stealth zombies. There is a game in that.
Yeah.
So they were sneaking up on people, going, surprise!
They weren't even saying anything. They were just standing there waiting for them to be noticed.
That's acting. Not being able to convey the surprise without saying the word surprise.
the best reaction I saw to one was there was some Virgin booth babes, so Virgin Media girls dressed up, and they were.
You don't know whether they're.
yeah.
Right.
Assume they're not if they're booth babes, right?
Yeah. Like they look like it, but their hot pants said no.
They were lining up to have a photo taken with a guy, and then out of nowhere the zombie stands next to one and gets in the photo. She turns around, sees it, jumps about 5 feet and runs off.
Nice.
Yeah, it was one of the best reactions I'd seen. Yeah,
that's good. All right. Zombies. That's a bit run of the mill though.
Yeah.
Like no one dressed as a Gundam.
No, there was a guy dressed as
Hitman?
an alien from Aliens.
An alien from Aliens. Still not gamey enough. Is anyone dressed as a Goomba?
No, there was the people from Journey, the PS3 title. There was a couple of people dressed up as that.
Scarvy dudes.
Is that what they're called?
No, they have scarves.
Yeah.
That's what you call a person with a scarf. What else could you have had? A ring from Sonic. No one dressed as that?
No. Deadpool was somewhere hanging around.
Gotta have been a Minecraft bit of cosplay somewhere.
Nope, didn't see a Minecraft, strange enough.
The bit of footage I have seen from Eurogamer, kind of cosplay related, was Cammy and Guile fighting zombies.
Really?
Yeah, like a random just, hey, we're dressed as Cammy and Guile, let's fight some zombies.
That's pretty cool.
Cammy and Guile, yeah, the sort of thing you normally see in cosplay events as well. They're kind of running. It's kind of boring.
Those aren't. Cosplays generally are tied to people attending the show not being paid to do so.
Yeah.
Right. Those two were, they were part of a show.
Were they? They weren't just two people just doing that?
Capcom. No, I reckon Capcom hired them.
Well, they did have a massive fight competition going on. So they had a copy of Street Fighter running. There was a big competition going on.
Yeah.
The whole day that I was there for.
Like the game.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, Super Street Fighter.
They didn't actually have a Street Fighter tournament.
No.
Out the back of our school.
Yeah, why not?
It did have a massive crowd, and I did watch it for a little while.
How did you do for freebies, Joe? Did you get any freebies?
I got a couple of posters. I got a pen for Metal Gear Revengeance, and I got a Hitman Absolution bobblehead.
Okay.
Even though his head doesn't move, it's just solid.
It's just like a big-headed.
Yeah.
I feel like it's.
Hitman.
Who gives a fuck? I feel like it's a bad move giving away a pen for Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah, they were having a contest. They were giving away a special poster to anyone.
It sort of ruins the game, though.
Yeah.
Why does it ruin the game?
I don't know.
You just said, I want to know why it ruins the game.
I don't know.
Tell me.
You tell me.
Because the pen is mightier than the sword, Joe.
Okay.
So how is the game going to be exciting now? You've got the pen already.
Pretty sure there's no pen in the game, but
No, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, okay. So Eurogamer was all right.
Yeah, it was good fun.
You got some freebies, you saw some zombies.
Yep.
And you played some games.
I did indeed.
But we'll come to those in a little minute. Have you done anything else with your week? That was only like a short amount of the week. You must have done something else.
Not really.
Okay.
That's the only real thing that stands out this week that I've done.
But overall, you're in good health.
I am indeed.
This is good to know. Shaun, let's turn to you now and find out how your week's been. You didn't go to Eurogamer.
No.
So tell us, what's your adventures?
It's almost been incident free. It's been
incident free.
It's been a relatively good week.
Well, like, give it a code colour.
A code colour?
Yeah. Like, are you like what alert are you on?
I don't know.
I need to know what
scale is. Blue. I'm on blue.
Blue's alright.
Yeah.
Blue's not too bad. It's not
green.
No, it's not green.
Green's all good.
It's not quite orange or amber.
No.
Once you get into that sort of magenta area, things are getting dicey.
I've managed not to blow up anything electrical this week.
Yeah, that's good.
As a general rule, I've been generally relaxing. Played a lot of Borderlands 2.
How's Nibbles?
Yeah, that was the only incident this
right,
week.
Okay.
It was a hamster related incident.
We did say the hamster will be the death of it.
And it was more the timing of it, because it was Sunday morning. I was sleeping, and I was alright until the crying and the "it's bit me again" kind of happened.
Right. Okay. So yeah.
The hamster basically is situated in my bedroom.
Right, okay.
Because
which seems like a bad deal anyway. If you're like, oh yeah, okay,
if you like sleep,
we've got you a hamster, and we're going to put it in our bedroom. That's like not our bedroom, but
it's down to the fact that we've got 2 cats, and so they need to be kept relatively far away from the hamster. It was decided that Ella wasn't going to be responsible enough to close her door every time she's been in her room to visit the hamster.
Right.
So therefore, the hamster's in our room. And obviously, it's taken to gnawing bars now. So that's fine at night time when you're trying to get to sleep. The bar gnawing. Yeah. It's skipped the 3 months of training. No. It's gone straight to escape because of the Sunday morning, where it tasted freedom. So, in a nutshell, Ella's playing with the hamster. She's got its dome open. She's using her hands as a wall to increase the height of the bottom of the cage to keep the hamster in.
Right.
Already it's morning. The hamster wants to be sleeping at this point, so it's probably quite grumpy. And the fact that a hand is blocking its escape route, it decided to chew through it.
Yeah, and it's had some before. It's not. At no point is the hamster going, "What does that taste like? If I bite this, is it going to be horrible?" It probably goes, "No, that was totally okay the first
bit
time."
Like chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it bit Ella, escaped. She's screaming and crying, unwoken, jumping from the bed, then chasing the hamster around the bedroom, and it almost got away. It got under the bed, and there's shit under there, man. There's suitcases, there's bags, there's all types of crap. It would have been free for a few hours, and at this point I pulled the mattress out, and she's screaming, "Get it, get it, get it!" Danny's outside in the hallway, but she can't open the door because the cats might get in. And I'm just like, "Don't open the fucking door! Don't open the door!" So yeah, that's Sunday morning excitement.
Yeah, hamsters, man.
And every time I picked it up, it's kind of cartwheeled out of my hand.
Yeah, they're good. They feel no pain. They have no fear. They have no fear. Also, that hamster is taken over. It's like it's not going to have any fear because it's running that house.
Is it?
It's like, yeah, chaos. One hamster did all that on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Shut down the house for enough.
Yeah.
I think Sugar would disagree.
It took you up to a sort of, orange, sort of deep purple alert. Just one hamster. So, yeah, that's kind of a big issue.
That's how to wake up on a Sunday morning.
Yeah,
action all the way. But yeah, I got it back into the cage. It's all right. It's alive. The child's alive. Everyone's good.
It's good. We went and saw Dread 3D.
We did.
Is it called Dread 3D? Or
It is Dread 3D.
It is Dread 3D.
I don't know if it's going to be called that on DVD.
Pretty sure it'll just be Dread on DVD.
Maybe. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was a lot better than a Judge Dredd movie should be.
Yeah.
Is kind of the way I viewed it. Carl Urban I hate more than anything on the planet. Like, so much. There's just nothing to the man. He's just boring. But other than that, the movie was kind of really cool. It was stylized. It's a load of like pointless excuses to make 3D bits look good.
Yeah.
With the slow-mo drug and stuff. But the thing that got me the most was like, I'm not a big fan of 2000 AD anyway, or any of that stuff. And Judge Dredd, there was moments in the movie where I was like, man, Judge Dredd looks badass. Like, I like his uniform. I like the fact that he's got the shield on his heart bit that says Dredd on it. I kind of like that. And it all kind of looks wicked. His armor's pretty cool. And then as soon as you get more than one judge in any scene, it looks fucking ridiculous. It just looks stupid. It's like, it looks good enough to be like one man's badass custom armor, but not a fleet of judges.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots about that film that kind of, I was like, really? So the 3D is obviously, it's in the title, so you'd expect it to be good. For a start, it's not even touching Prometheus. It's not.
No, but
don't even go there.
That's a tall order. Like, nothing has touched
to kind of go Dread 3D, not just to call it Dread, and you can watch it in 3D.
Yeah, but then you have films like Piranha 3D.
Yeah, exactly. I think 3D is just a cheap way of saying it's 3D. But the 3D was good. It wasn't bad. It was shot in 3D.
It was questionable. It's questionable.
It's better. It was a million times better than a lot of the movies you see. It was like better than the Avengers in 3D and better than any of that post. Yeah, no, it was. It was deeper.
I don't think it was. No, because majority of the film it's really subtle. You're not kind of going, I'm watching a film in 3D. At certain times I was forgetting I was watching something in 3D.
That's how 3D should be.
No, unless I lift off the glasses.
No, that's how it should be. That's how it's done right. No. If it's going like, look, I'm throwing knives in your face, it's like they're ruining the movie.
But at the same time, it then did things where it's like, well, this is shot with depth of field. So you have to look at this point.
Yeah, it was
and
like,
if you look anywhere else, it'll fuck up your eyes.
It was like Avatar in that respect, where it has real force depth of field. And the thing that made Prometheus quite nice was the whole thing was sharp all the time, so you could choose where you were looking. But that's unconventional sort of way of doing it, yeah? But it wasn't as bad as Avatar because the shots weren't moving as much. I didn't have as much of a problem with that, and I do hate that when I'm trying to look at something and it's out of focus because the movie's put it out of focus. It's like, well, I'm trying to look at it with my own eyes, and because it's 3D, you feel like you can change it and you can't, and you get a headache. But the 3D, I thought the 3D was good. The slow-mo shots were brilliant.
And yeah, but that's the thing. It's kind of like, well, we've got this much budget to do the entire film in 3D other than these 5 points in the film where we're going to go fucking nuts with the 3D. Yeah. And those are all slow-mo
that's
bits.
The only reason they were there, right? Is that's the reason for the slow-mo drug. Because it's ridiculous, the slow-mo drug, yeah? So you take this drug and it slows down time, your perception of time. That's only there in the movie as a vehicle to make cool scenes. And actually that first scene where he busts into the apartment and takes out a load of people and you see it all in slow motion is brilliant. And it looks just like, what I got from that is it looks just like the comics when you're seeing bullets tear through people's cheeks slowly and all their like guts ripple and stuff. It just looks like, they look like cells from a comic book. And so that was cool. It was, it was alright. It was, in places, far more gratuitous than I wanted it to be.
I would have liked it more if I hadn't have watched The Raid a week before.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's the same as The Raid.
Yeah, see, I there was quite a difference between when I watched The Raid and when I watched Dread. So Dread was awesome when I watched it. Yeah. It really was. So I wasn't trying to compare it to The Raid at all. And I just love that film.
I still don't... I mean, it's a similar story. It's pretty much the same story, but I don't think they're directly comparable. There is more stuff going on in Dread, and it's a stylized world and things. But it's, same thing. Take over a building, you're trapped inside, right? This was... It really shone out to me of like, oh, wow, this is a movie that feels like an 18. Yeah. It had a couple of moments where it was like... It wasn't like nasty. Nothing really made me like feel sick, and they were actually quite restrained in some of the gory bits.
Yeah.
Like when the woman smashes on the camera lens, as it were. That could have been way nastier, and they I was like, hats off to you for like showing a bit of restraint and not making me vomit in my seat. But there were still moments where I was like, damn, don't see that often in a movie, because not many 18s come out.
Yeah, it's true.
They don't. Why would you? You cut your audience down.
I don't know what it was. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, the board of classification team changed,
right?
And they're more lax, the new guys, because they're younger, I think. So I think that has a massive effect on what is classed as 18.
I mean, that obviously, over time, things like that change anyway. But yeah, I mean, it also you can't get as many bums on seats.
Yeah.
If you're not tacking into that teen crowd. Because the other thing is, like, once you go over 18, or certainly, into your 20s or whatever, you don't have time to go to the cinema.
No.
It's like, I can't go to the cinema. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, that was cool. So, but yeah, Dread was alright. It was surprisingly good. What else?
I've recently watched Superman versus the Elite.
I have no idea. I don't know. So you've mentioned this before. I don't know what the Elite is.
They're basically the plot is because I don't read a vast amount of Superman.
Right.
The plot in the cartoon is that the Elite are a group of superheroes.
Okay.
And then they go extreme.
Like known superheroes that already exist, or new superheroes?
They're that new team, but they're all really relatively powerful.
Right.
And then they kind of go rogue. They go over the top and start whacking like world leaders that want to start wars in the Middle East and stuff. And initially, Superman's kind of testing the waters with them and teaming up and stuff, and doing a couple of rescue missions and stuff with them. He's kind of befriending them, and then they're like, "Yeah, you should start killing people, dude." And he's like, "No, that's not really me." But the best thing about this cartoon is that Superman says "wanker."
No way. That's not. Superman can't say wanker.
It's the fact that he only says wanker is because the leader of the extremes is English, the elites is English, and says wanker.
Have you seen this as well?
Yeah, I've seen this film as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you can confirm.
Does Superman says wanker?
I don't remember Superman saying wanker. the bit of the film that stuck out to me is when Superman just becomes super badass in that film.
Yeah. He kind of shows how dark Superman.
So in what context does he say wanker? Let's go back to the wanker thing. Why does Superman can't say wanker? It should be like kryptonite to him.
Yeah,
that's not a super word, man.
The sentence is, the situation is, he gets the Elite to aid him in a rescue. There's people trapped in a train under a river because the tunnel runs under a river.
It's the Eurotunnel, basically, like the Eurotunnel.
The equivalent of, the kind of equivalent of. And Superman can't rescue. He probably could rescue him by himself. He's Superman, right? But he wants to kind of test these guys. So the leader, he says, give me a hand. And the leader's response is, all I do is fly around the world kicking the snot out of wankers. they do the rescue. The guy helps him. Superman, he's lying on the floor because he kind of passes out from use of his power in ways that he's not used to using them. Superman then puts out his hand and he goes, "Not bad for a guy who just goes around kicking the snot out of wankers."
Okay, so he's quoting someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But regardless, Superman still said wanker.
Yeah, that's still shocking.
It's on video.
It's not. That's I'm not even sure how I feel about that. There's too much crossover between young kids and this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Even though there's a lot of brutal stuff in these things.
Yeah, these
It's like
what is the range? This DC Premiere or DC
They're just
Prime
like
or something?
it's like the DC sort of
Right.
animated universe.
It's like their big kind of DVD movies that they do in cartoon form. They're a lot more brutal.
yeah, but that's I just
Obviously,
think that's
the
kind
Batman
of.
Year One and
Yeah.
Batman Dark Knight Returns.
But kids are going to see this stuff, right? Like
I think they're
like the
kind of-
Amazing Spider-Man cartoon is a gateway. It's a gateway cartoon into this other stuff.
Yeah, but there's stuff that's targeted to children and stuff that's targeted to kind of late teens. I think these are all
but
15 related.
I just
maybe.
like Spider-Man. You know, that's all I'm going to care about, right? I just want to see Spider-Man, animated Spider-Man. So I'll see anything. And if Spider-Man just happens to rape someone in one of the videos, then I'm going to be exposed to that. And that, that wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. How am I as a kid supposed to go, "Oh, that one's not for me"? Like, just be like, "Fuck me, yeah, it's Batman. I'm
Well,
putting
they
that
kind
on."
of say 15 on the side.
But, yeah, how many kids do you know that give a shit? But like,
No, kids don't.
Call of
but,
Duty fans would like to, have a word with you about
Virgin do when they kind of
but
come
it's-
in to buy these things
but
like
I mean,
HMV.
Yeah, but it's not impossible for kids
No.
to get hold of stuff. And if
It's
I'm
not.
saying if it's already in a home, if it's just there,
Yeah.
they could watch it. So yeah, that's not super. That's not right. That's Luther's doing. Clearly. All right.
But that kind of pretty much covers what I've been doing. I've watched a fair few things this week. Is what I've been doing.
I don't care though.
You asked.
I didn't. What?
Arcs.
Yeah. What's that?
You asked what I've been doing this
I
week.
asked.
Whatever.
Not
I asked you. What have you played? What have you watched? Come on. What else
That's
have you
it.
watched?
That's
That's it. You haven't watched
Yeah,
anything.
no.
I thought you were saying you had more
No,
stuff
that's
to watch.
it. No, that's what I'm saying.
All right,
I was
fair
summing
enough.
up my experience
Summing
this
up.
week.
Fair enough. I haven't done anything this week. It's been really busy, nasty week for me. But like I said earlier, I shot a music video for the band that I'm in. We are called Chipset. And we went to an abandoned railway station and shot a music video there, which was kind of nuts because abandoned places look wicked and railway stations also look wicked. And we kind of went there. We went there with like Network Rail permission, so we like drove there in a Network Rail car, and a man unlocked the level crossing, and we kind of just walked in, and then it was like, "Yep, just do whatever you like." And the station wasn't in use, but the line was still in use.
Right.
It was on the way to Dungeness. And so they just have like, I don't know, nuclear trains going by. Like the train in Back to the Future, I think, goes down the track or something. So it was, although it was like, the guy that took us there was like, yeah, there's no train that's going to come through. It was still like, yeah, but they could, right? But the tracks aren't electrified, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, old school.
It's not. I only found out actually from this conversation that most of the tracks in the country aren't electrified.
Does
It's
it-
only
does
down
it-
here and around London that they're
So it doesn't
electrified.
have the mushroom rail at all.
No, that's just not the
So
way they
what
do
are
it.
the-
Apparently,
what are the trains
I
powered
don't
by?
know. I don't know.
Steam?
Yeah, something like that. Coal, whatever.
Really?
Nuclear fission. I don't know. So yeah.
Fusion energy.
So that was kind of nuts. So I got to dick around in an abandoned station, which kind of looked wicked. So yeah, fun. So we should probably talk about some games because we played some games. Actually, I wanted to mention something. The CD, the compact disc. Our good friend, the compact disc, Mr. CD. You know what I'm talking about, Joe. You're looking at me kind of blankly.
I know what
Those
CD
things
is.
got music-
I know what
music on
CD
them.
is.
He has seen them.
Yeah, they had games on them once, ages ago. Yeah?
No.
It was the CD turned 30 years old yesterday.
Wow.
Just think about that for a second, Joe.
That is really old.
Yeah. 30 years yesterday.
And they're still going, just.
Yeah. You know what the first commercially available CD was?
No.
Me neither, I can't remember, but it was a Billy Joel album. I know
Was it?
that. Yeah. It was released in Japan on the 1st of October in 1982.
Wow.
So yeah, but I just got me thinking of like, wow, man, CDs. So CDs are 30 years old. When did we get to the point where CDs were first used in a games console? We're talking like PlayStation era now. So what, 92? So 10 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Around about 10 years of CDs just floating around before
Right.
anyone managed to plug that into a games console.
95.
Depending.
We're in the UK.
Yeah, true. But still, it's sort of like it's a long time for a new format to then make its way into
Yeah.
other stuff. I suppose
Different medium.
data and things. But yeah, that doesn't happen now. Blu-rays come out with PS3.
Yeah.
So yeah, think about that, Joe. CDs. There was a time before CDs. This got me thinking about times before everything. Like, time before YouTube. Sharing video on the internet, damn near fucking impossible without YouTube. Try and do it now without YouTube, it's still pretty difficult. But back then, it was all like embedded QuickTime clips into GeoCities websites. It was shit. Everything about it was shit.
It wasn't good.
So, yeah, that made me think. The CD. Our good friend, the CD. A round of applause, please, for the CD. Here's to another 30 years. All right, let's talk about some games then. And we've got quite a lot to talk about because obviously you went to Eurogamer and played some new stuff, Joe, which is kind of exciting. But also, you know, some other bits and pieces to pick up on. Let's talk a bit about Borderlands 2 because we did talk about it last week. You played it then, Joe.
Yes, I did.
But that was just a weird shout in like. All right, okay, you did fine. So Borderlands 2, we've played it now since then. Shaun, you played quite a lot of it.
Yes.
I've literally only just dipped my toe in, but it's good. It's good. It looks really good.
It does, yeah.
It's such a great looking game. I can't believe how good it looks. Although I was getting sort of not a problematic amount, but an annoying amount of texture pop in every time I just looked at anything.
Yeah, I haven't installed it.
No, I haven't, and I will do.
I have installed it, and I really had no real texture pop in.
Yeah, it just bugs me a little bit. You know, when you open a chest and you're like, and the bullets go blip, just pop into like, oh yeah, they're shotgun shells, or faces sometimes. But other than that, yeah, it, to me, from what I've played of it so far, it looks a lot like Borderlands 1. It feels expensive though. It feels like like you can tell when you put it on, you're like, this is a big game, you know, with licensed track in the opening. It's very slick. The opening, it's just kind of, it's cool. So it looks like, you know, clearly a lot of love and work has gone into it. How have you gone with it, Joe? What's your not Joe, Shaun? What have your opinions been of it?
From the get go, it feels more like a game and less like you've got bare bones of a game. In comparison to Borderlands 1, right. You know, you start to get set pieces quite early on in the game, which I don't really remember from number 1. You kind of had sort of set pieces from number 1 when you're fighting bosses, but this has got kind of stuff where almost instantly, I think it's like second mission maybe, there's a couple of trucks that pull up and blow up a bridge that you're walking towards and stuff. Yeah. There's a point where you have to get shields, throw them into a grinder, build a shield like the main town has over it, protecting it from the corporation that's trying to undermine the rebellion. Hyperion, those are cats. So they build their own mini shield around this town they're separating from Hyperion and joining the rebellion. And you test the shields with a mortar and stuff like that. So there's a lot more set pieces going on.
Yeah, I mean the game starts with just a shit ton of scripted events. Yeah. Anyway, from the train crash to when Claptrap's just walking you up and his eye gets stolen. Oh yeah, and all that stuff. It's just like there's loads of like real. Oh right, there's someone's animated all this stuff, which is a bit. I mean, it's fine for the beginning because it's the beginning, right? It's just setting up the whole story, yeah. But I still find it a bit weird. It's sort of like that's very linear. That initial experience of like, well, I'm just gonna follow you and go wherever I've got to go.
It does stop.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, because that's the bit you didn't like about Borderlands is that Borderlands 1 was just very much just like open, here you are, that's it. Yeah. All of the missions are kind of just text written in, and it's almost like it's been made on like an Excel spreadsheet or something. So like you just need this bit, and this bit, and that makes an instant quest.
I felt far too disconnected from the first game.
Yeah.
Because the initial, so I just got bored quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's what I mean by this just feels expensive and slick, is that it's way more polished to just a narrative experience for you to play. It's kind of like, this is cool.
It's more of a game to play if you're playing single player.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, the beginning section, if you was playing 4-player at that point, you might all get a bit pissed off.
Yeah, I guess, but you can
because
do it.
People want to skip. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sure. They just want to go, well, there's 4 of us, all we want to do is
But I think that's not the way people play Borderlands 2 co-op anyway. And most people join a game after they've gone through the first bit. Like they go in and then they're like, now I'll just join someone else's, and you sync up wherever they're going to be. But yeah, you're right. And this game annoyed me with the unskippable cutscene at the beginning.
Yes.
Like, I've seen this. It's really long. Let me skip it.
And he's like, no.
Just
no, this cost us, what, 30 mil? You're watching it. Whether you want to or not.
But it's good. I need to play a lot more of it because it looks like I'm gonna like it. I mean, I love the first one, so it does just look like more of the same.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm not playing as a soldier that I'm enjoying this a bit more. I'm playing as Zero the Assassin. And it might be because I've stopped at the very beginning and looked through all of his kind of progressive paths to level up on, that I've got like a plan for what I'm doing with him, and I can see how it's going to affect the combat.
Crazy level of planning that I'm going to. I just went, right, Gunzerker, he's called a Gunzerker, I'm obviously going to be him, that's awesome. And then did one thing, changed his head to the breaking bald thing. So he's just got a bald head, and I was like, that's it, I'm gone. I don't know what any of his perks or skill trees involve or anything like that. I was just like, I'm not going to be the soldier type. Sorry, Joe, but that's shit.
No, you have no idea how amazing that saber turret is.
I was like, I'm not going to play as the woman, and I don't want to play as the ninja, because you were obviously going to play as the ninja. And I was like, well, then the Gunzerker it is, and he looks badass, and I'm happy. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, but I kind of mapped. I was like, yeah, this could be sweet if I can stay with this game that long.
Yeah, I did as well. I looked at all the different trees and saw which one I wanted to go with first.
Mental.
I think with Borderlands you kind of have to, otherwise none of the perks add up to anything.
They're all awesome, right? You can just randomly get them. You're going to get some good stuff. There's not many duds in there.
No, it's just each different tree just leads towards your character doing something slightly different.
Yeah. But I don't mind what he does. As long as he's... what's more important to me, and I think that's kind of why I like Borderlands, is that I just want different stuff happening all the time. I don't really care what it is. It's like, oh, this gun does this? No? Okay, that's fine. And, now I can regen. Like, I don't mind when. Just keep giving me shit. It's kind of like it's the game that keeps on giving.
It's got a lot to give.
Yeah. It's like Santa Claus the game. What do you reckon of the weapons? Do you like the weapons?
Yeah. I seem to be using a lot of sniper rifles. I don't use sniper rifles a lot.
That's what I did in Borderlands 1 as well. Yeah. Is you tend to hang back and take people off from quite a distance, or especially if you're in co-op and one of you will do that and the other person will go and rage at people. But...
Yes, I'm playing it all in co-op, so I'm just running around with an assault rifle while the person I'm playing with just generally hangs back because he's playing as the assassin. I
thought the guns were pretty good. They feel alright. I've never... It's kind of weird. The gun stuff in Borderlands is awesome and it's stupid, and they've gone obviously even more crazy with it now. I just don't like the look of the guns. More than anything.
I think the look of certain guns in this one, because obviously, like Joe said last week, it shows you a lot of the guns on the loading screens. And some of them just look fucking epic.
Yeah, I just like my guns to look like guns, though. Just like, just...
But this is sci-fi.
I know, but that's why I'm not a fan of sci-fi.
It depends on the company. Some just look like normal guns. Yeah. Others just look mental.
But they feel good, and they don't, more importantly, they don't block the entire screen when you look down at sights anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's serviceable. It's like, yeah, I can do that. And you should, because it'll spec you different.
I generally just go with guns that got scopes on anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if you don't have a scope in this, where you aim is where it shoots, whereas in the first one it's just everywhere. You just can never aim.
It's a lot more sort of action, but I think if you're just a shooter guy, if you just kind of like first person shooters, you're more likely to like this than you were Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
So
it's not bad.
It's definitely worth a look. I think it's sold gangbusters. I think it's done really well since it's come out. So that'll be interesting to see.
I'm looking forward to doing a bit of multiplayer on it.
Yeah, definitely, because that is by far the best way to play that game. If you're not doing multiplayer, you are missing out on what is the best part of that game.
Yeah.
And it really rams it down your throat. Like it's just like constantly like 3 empty slots.
That's quite a funny thing. Because you was looking at random reviews, weren't you?
Yeah, there was a bit of controversy over the Borderlands 2 reviews because it seemed to get flagged up as quite a big game, right? Like Halo 4 and the Call of Duties and stuff, which are games that get picked up and reviewed by people that wouldn't normally review games. So like the New York Times or something, which will review a big game, it will do a Halo 4 review.
Triple A titles, basically.
Or just important ones, I guess, but ones that it wouldn't review, Tokyo Jungle or anything like that. But Borderlands somehow got onto those lists, and so the reviews were just nuts from people that just didn't get it at all. Like there was one review that complained about the lack of a multiplayer option in the game, because it wasn't, like, in comparison to Call of Duty. That was where the reference from. It's like, well, there is no multiplayer in that sense. But there is so much multiplayer in Borderlands, it's unreal.
It's crazy.
And another one was complaining about the cartoon graphics because the game didn't go... It looked good, but it didn't go far enough in the manga direction. And it's like, well, that's what the hell are you talking about? So, yeah, that was
Very strange.
But it has meant that the overall Metacritic's been brought down because there were like some 6s and 7s that came out of that. When most places are giving this, a good old 9 out of 10. So it's definitely good. You guys played some Game Dev Story. I spoke about it last week on the show, and you both went and downloaded it.
Yeah.
And in fact, part of the reason why we're recording later today, we're recording in the evening as opposed to in the morning, so that's why the show was up late. But even just starting this evening was difficult because you bastards were both playing Game Dev Story.
Well, it's because we started comparing what we've been naming our games.
I only started playing it because I was waiting for you two to get finished. So he was playing, Sean was playing Game Dev.
I was just playing it.
I was just waiting for Sean to finish.
Yeah.
So as soon as Sean finished, I put mine down.
Okay.
But it was because we was comparing our own titles, and we had there were some good ones.
Yeah, there were some great ones in there.
I was particularly proud of my War Shooter, War and Duty, and War and Duty 2. It got a sequel.
See, I liked my robot shooter, which was Mechs of War. I like that.
Mechs of War. It's the best bit about Game Dev Story. I was kind of hoping you guys would talk about the game a little bit, but it's naming your own stuff is kind of cool. Yeah. That's kind of fun. It still makes me chuckle when I'm like, my basketball simulator was called Jam Dunk, and I'm like, I would totally buy Jam Dunk tomorrow. And that's the bit I think that hooks you the most. You're like, I'm just naming games. It's just, and you just do, you end up doing parodies of every game, right? But how have you guys how have you found the game?
I've been loving it. It's really addictive to try and make a better game than the last one you made.
Right.
The interface, controlling the game itself is really dodgy. So at first, it was like I really didn't know how to get into any menus or what I was doing from where I was. After a while, we get used to it.
Yeah. It's kind of a rough. It's not a rough port, but it's kind of a bit of a slapdash port. 'Cause it's all Japanese initially. It is on the PC, but they just did quite a quick and dirty port to the iPhone. And so that stuff is a bit weird, but you do get the hang of it kind of nicely. It's just so adorable. I don't know. It's a real time sink. You just end up investing so heavily into it.
Yeah, I've completed the game once, and I'm going through on my second playthrough now.
So. Yeah, when I picked it up, I was like, I'll play it for like 10 minutes, see what it's like, and then 5 hours later I was like, my phone's about to die, I should really stop this.
Well, and there's loads of secret stuff in it as well,
yeah.
So there is actually a lot of stuff that you won't see first time round, or that you won't necessarily even know about.
Yeah, there's kind of stuff where, obviously you guys, you're developing a console now.
I've already developed my console.
And you developed consoles on your game. And I didn't even get into that on my first game, even remotely close. I had no idea.
Well, it doesn't tell you at all. The game just kind of goes, you could, if you had a hardware engineer, you could develop a console. And it's like, but how do I get a hardware engineer? You haven't told me any of that.
It took me ages online to find out how to get a hardware engineer as well. Because they just made it sound like you just get one of every type of
job.
And level them up to level 5, but it's not. You get one person and you get them to level up every job type to level 5.
Yeah, and then they can change jobs to hardware engineer. Yeah, it's cool. Making consoles is brilliant. What was your console going to be called, Joe?
I ended up calling mine Game Station. Like the Game Station. I just couldn't think of a good name for it.
That'll never fly. That's for one game, I'm going to stock it. What about you, Sean? Have you made a console yet?
No.
What would you call it, though?
I don't know. We'll come to it.
Okay.
I'll let you know next week.
Right. Mine was called the Video Trex.
It's a good name. It's a good name. I just
future, Joe.
Yeah.
It's got 64-bit graphics.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact that if you do the top model, it looks like a GameCube with a screen. You have no choice of how to make it,
Yeah, you can't visually change it. Yeah, that's a bit of a bum. There is more stuff that they could have added to the customization, I think. I would like to, design box art for my games or something, or put quotes on the back, or, I don't know. But it's good. It's a good game. It's one that's worth having. If you've got an iPhone, it's worth just having there, because it's a good it's just a really good phone game.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't have enough. I don't know how it would be on the PC, but I feel like it wouldn't have enough to keep me sat at my PC all the time.
No.
Sure.
But in a phone, when it's just in your hand, you're like, yep, that's cool, brilliant, I've just made $1 million.
It's basically replaced my solitaire playing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's kind of like, if you're tired of Snake, tired of solitaire, why not play Game Dev Story? It's awesome.
It really is.
Good. I'm glad. Well, Marvel vs. Capcom Origins came out on XBLA this week. Hell yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit came out this week, but only in the States, so we can't play it, which sucks. So the only thing we got was Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which is 2D beat 'em up. It's 2 games. What game is it, Sean? You know more about this.
So it's the second in the line of straight Marvel fighters. The first one being X-Men: Children of the Atom. The second one being Marvel Superheroes World Warriors or something along those lines. And then the first of the Capcom versus series, Marvel versus Capcom.
Okay. It's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of like, what do you say about this game? Because it's not changed in any way. It's like, if you played those two games, it's these two games again, right?
Yeah.
And so that, let's talk about the games a little bit first. I really like them because they're really easy.
They are. You can get away with button mashing, but you will get done by a pro.
Yeah, but even that, it's not like, I mean, it was a case of me, it was like, I don't play fighting games really, but I played a lot of Street Fighter 2 back in the day.
Sure.
And from that, I can play this.
Yeah.
I can pick Spider-Man or Ryu or anyone or whatever, and I can pull off some moves, and it'll be freaking awesome. And it worked, and I was like, yes, it's awesome. And I just creamed the opponents, and I was like, I might buy this game, I kind of like this.
The control system is far closer to original Street Fighter than the current generation of Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
Where they've put kind of weird buttons in now. But yeah, both of them. I was surprised by how good both of them looked.
Yeah. You've got quite a lot of options. As with these things, because they've not. It's not an HD remake or anything like that. It's just the game's running. So you've got different options for how the sprites look, whether you want them clean or crisp, and any filter on them whatsoever. You can also add scan lines from a TV if you wanted those, as though you were playing in the arcade. You can also change the shape of it, so it looks like you're playing on an arcade monitor. It's slightly rounded on the edges. Or you can have it sort of widescreen without any of that, as it was au naturel. You can smooth the shit out of everything, so it kind of looks more cartoon-like, but you lose quite a lot of the detail, but it's an interesting look. And then it's got this crazy view where you can just view the whole game and play it as though you were playing it over someone's shoulder, and what you see is like an arcade cabinet with a screen on it at an angle, like pointing off into the distance,
Sounds
as though
bizarre.
you were literally watching someone play, which is useless.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the most awesome thing I've seen in a little while. So that was cool. So all the options are kind of the things you'd sort of expect. It's a good package because you're getting both games.
Yeah. And it's 800, isn't it?
I don't know. It might be 1,200 points.
You reckon?
Yeah. Actually, no. It is 1,200
It says
points.
tenner.
Yeah. But if you like this sort of thing, it's pretty good.
It's still not bad.
You know,
It's like £5 each game.
Yeah. So that, apart from that, there's not a lot really to say about it. It's kind of...
No, I'd forgotten how limited the cast of Marvel superheroes is.
Yeah, it's like 9 characters.
Yeah,
or something.
it's like, and even Marvel vs. Capcom, considering that you have like 60 odd players now to select from.
If you play it online, it's nuts. Like you just, it's a standard thing of what it doesn't happen so much now when Capcom really work at it, but you get it's like everyone's Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Like Spider-Man and Ryu, you just see all the time online because they're the characters that people mastered, right? Like you play Street Fighter online, and like everyone's Ken.
Yeah.
And you're like, God damn it, man! Can I just fight someone who's not Ken? Because this guy's obviously a fucking extreme master of one character, and it's Ken.
I don't know. I found Street Fighter 4 was quite diverse online.
No.
When I was playing
Ken.
it, hardly anybody
Everyone's
plays Ken.
Ken.
I played as Ken all the time.
Yeah, you're part of the problem. So you do get a lot of that. There's a lot of characters people don't use because they're not brilliantly balanced necessarily. But yeah, it was a cool little game. I'd certainly get. It's weird seeing it on a widescreen because you're like, wow, man, how much of the screen are you not going to use?
Right.
You know, because the actual windowed box, the virtual arcade screen that you're playing on, is like half the size of your HD TV with like borders down the sides. But it brings up like achievements and challenges on the left-hand side as you're playing. So you're, leveling up your character essentially to unlock gear, and it's got galleries and various other stuff. The netcode online was really good. It kind of works. Capcom have just nailed that now. Right. Like it's just not a problem. Like if you want to play like fighting games online, I used to always never play because they were just always dreadful with regards to lag. Yeah. And now Capcom just nailed it. It's just like, yeah, that works. That's fine. That's cool. Yeah. So for 1,200 points, it's like, yeah, it's a pretty good version of 2 games that there's no way they would have sold any other way.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Marvel characters are pretty cool. I like that big, spritey, blocky animation. It's kind of like Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter 4, obviously, looks great. They look great, but I still miss that classic, chunky, sprite-based Street Fighter 2 look, that you used to have in the arcades. It's just kind of awesome. So,
Alpha is it's a series that I'm waiting for to come onto live.
Yeah,
Street Fighter Alpha.
I'm sure it will at some point. Capcom just getting everything out there.
My favourite form of Street Fighter.
Yeah, it's good. You not like Street Fighter, do you, Joe?
No, I hate fighting games.
That's nice.
We played some Tekken 6 the other night.
We did play we played some Tekken 6. It's fucking horrible. Like I'm quite interested in Tag Tournament 2 because it's supposed to be alright and it's got loads of characters in it. And the one thing I love about Tekken is I love the crazy stories for each character. They're always like really nuts FMV bits you get at the end, and it was like that made me want to finish the game with every character. But we played Tekken 6 and it's just clunky as fuck.
Yeah, Tekken always was.
It's just so rigid, man. It's like there's nothing. It doesn't look good. It never looks good.
For two like professional fighters, you spend a lot of time kicking at midair.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh man, you know, it's saving graces. There's a bear in it, and you can be a bear punching people in the face. But other than that, it's just there's nothing fluid or beautiful about the fighting in any way. Virtua Fighter was a similar one as well, I guess. So yeah, I didn't like that. I lost every single match I played.
No, didn't you win one just before we left?
Maybe.
I think you won the last match.
It felt like even though I won a match, I lost by playing it. I was the loser in that game for playing the game.
The only reason I'm any good at it at all is because back in the day I was forced to play it.
Yeah, sucks. So yeah, I don't know. Fighting games, man, they're a mixed bag.
They are,
but you know, like, you just choose what one you're into, and then you kind of stick to that, right? Yeah. And it's kind of tough. I just need all the moves to be the same. You know, I know what my brain goes. I know what a fireball is. Every character in every fighting game should be able to do a fireball.
Yeah, a lot of Tekken characters do.
Still, yeah, but in the same way,
you just need to find the right button to do it with.
No, that's what I mean. In my head, I know what buttons it does. It's how Ryu and Ken do their fireballs. No, but I shouldn't have to configure my keys. You know, that should just be that.
You have to configure your keys in Street Fighter. No, the reverse.
What?
The reverse. I have them the opposite way because I learned to play on the Super Nintendo.
Oh man, my whole point is that it should just all be that one original Street Fighter move. Who's configuring keys in a fighting game?
Not the directional keys, but the actual keys.
That's mental.
The people that configure the buttons are the people that play as Ken all the time online.
I hate those guys. The one thing as well is it's mean to configure buttons in any game, because at some point, especially if it's a game where you're going to be in a room where you're passing it around, passing the controller around, you're like, man, he's on. How the fuck? What the? Jesus Christ?
If I'm playing King of the Hill with a group, I'll just play with whatever keys.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they're just fucking
too right. You will. They're
just the reverse of my normal keys.
The only game I ever changed my button config on were Halo, just so I had the boxer setting, just to make it easier to melee.
That's mental. Really, you do that?
Yeah. I prefer boxer to the standard version of Halo.
I will just meticulously never ever change the settings. It's like I'll play what you have told me to play on. I feel like I'm advanced enough as a human being to learn a new skill.
So you don't have toggle crouch?
I don't change anything, Joe.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have toggle crouch, but
I cannot stand it.
I always mean to change it.
Never mess with a man's Halo controls.
No, I only change mine. I never change any. That's a sin to change anyone else's.
Somebody else playing it, and they just clicked.
You're mental. You're mental.
I was like, you don't have it as whole crouch?
And
they're like, no.
You're mental.
I was like, that's genius.
You're mental.
I will only ever change mine. I will never change anyone else. That's just the most evil thing to do.
No, yeah, but you just shouldn't change it at all. There's no need to change it.
There are some things that it's like toggle crouch is the most useful thing.
Well, no, but I just done with that belief of like, it would be like that if that was the best option, right?
Yeah, but it's the way I prefer to play. That's why they put it in there.
It's terrible. You're part of the problem. You're the reason these options keep going. Take the options out. All these options should go.
No, they shouldn't. They should be more of them in.
No, wrong. It's wrong. Let's take a break.
Yes.
Let's take a break. We're going to play a track. One of my tracks now. Actually, it's a remix of one of my band's tracks. It's the Full Systems Go remix of Supposedly, which was the video that we shot, although it wasn't a remix. Anyway, here it is. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, we are back, and that was defiantly the best break we've had in a long time. Are you guys aware of this? I've been looking at this. If you there's a whole billion tweets. Tweets are the best thing to go from on this, of people writing the word defiantly instead of definitely, right? I don't know if it's just autocorrect doing it or if people are just really bad at spelling. I think it's probably a bit of both. But the beauty of it is that defiantly just changes the sentences, you know? And there's people just don't know. They're just like, yeah, I'm just defiantly don't like this. Like, what are you talking about? So I'd read a few tweets here because some of them are great. Tom Lowe, at Tom Lowe 96 says, might as well out people while they do it. For months I said to myself, I'm defiantly not going to Hull Fair, but I can't resist the shitty chabby music and overpriced rides. Christmas is defiantly the best time of the year, says Luke Craven 4. Adrian Culbertson, that's at 2Adele4, says, the turtle in Finding Nemo is defiantly high. They're great. They're great. God will never put you in a situation you can't handle, but you can defiantly put yourself in a situation that you can't handle. Yeah. They defiantly need to make flavoured pen lids. Actually, that's not a bad idea. But maybe they should not defiantly do it. Just definitely do it. Anyway, it's a little fun game. You can play it yourself at home. Just Google defiantly. See, just spot how many will get it wrong. 99% of them will be, they meant definitely, but they wrote defiantly. And that's great. So, anyway, let's talk about some games. Joe, you went to Eurogamer. You saw some games.
Yes, I did.
I want to know about some Far Cry 3.
Okay, I'll talk about some Far Cry 3 then.
Do it.
Okay, so yeah, I was playing Far Cry. It was on a high-end PC, but it was running with a 360 controller, which was a lot better because I'm terrible with mouse and keyboard. And it just sort of drops you in the middle of nowhere. You're not really sure what's going on. And the guy just goes, there's a radio tower over there. Why don't you just sort of climb up it? So you climb up this radio tower, you activate it, and then what it does is it opens up an area of the map that you can see. So it shows you where side quests are, shops.
Okay, so like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, so it's like, that was what I was going to say. It's like the towers on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I think there's 11 of them scattered all over the island.
Right, okay.
And once you activate them all, you can see where everything is on the map. And then from there, I ziplined down and ended up in this area where there was a mission to run meds from this gas station to some beach somewhere. And it gives you this, like, 4x4 buggy.
Right.
And you're just, like, flying through Far Cry. And you're, like, going over jumps and, like, trying to get upstairs. And the vehicles arenn't very good. Right. Their controls don't really seem to work.
So they're not using the Halo control system. It's direct
no,
control.
but they never did they?
No. They always direct control, weren't they?
Yeah, because it's first person.
Yeah.
You know, so is it different to Far Cry 2 in that way, or does it feel the same? When you say that the vehicles don't really work, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's like they oversteer too much, so you'll accelerate and turn, it'll just turn sharply.
Yeah, they always did. Yeah, sort of really sharply. You could turn on quite a dime on them, which, but that's I don't know. I love Far Cry vehicles. That's one of the things I really loved about it. But they definitely have that sort of like twitch control on them. So I'm kind of glad that's back. But it's not for everyone. But that's kind of cool.
I ended up finding my way to a hang glider. I don't even know how I managed to get there. So I run off this cliff with a hang glider, and from what I could see whilst on the hang glider, it did seem to have like an infinite draw distance like Just Cause did. So I could see the entire island whilst I was in the sky.
Nice. No, that's cool.
Yeah, it's completely, you can just go anywhere you want and do anything you want.
But it's not all just desert anymore.
No, it's all jungle.
Like Far Cry 1 style, what the scenery and stuff. Because that was the best bit. Like Far Cry should be on a tropical island and it should all kind of look kind of parasitic almost, And Far Cry 2 was like, I'm in like dusty Africa, and it was all a bit, this isn't as attractive to look at. It was all a bit run down.
This is really beautiful. It just looks amazing.
Okay, that's cool. What were the weapons like? Did you do anything cool? Did you go feral? Did you kill someone?
No, I didn't. I did get in a couple of gunfights and stole a vehicle. The guns, I don't know. The gunplay was alright, but I don't know. It had I can't explain it. It just didn't feel as tight as Far Cry 2. The guns felt awesome on it.
Right.
Their control was really good. On this, it just seemed really hard to get any sort of aim, fire. The recoil was over, and it was all right.
It's like standard Call of Duty style as well. Your iron sights.
You have iron sights.
Like lock on and stuff, I'd imagine. Right, okay. So yeah, there's been a lot of videos about this recently of stuff. I'm actually now really looking forward to Far Cry 3. I was kind of it anyway, but it was one of those. It's kind of a background game. Yeah, it's like I'll pick it up and maybe I'll launch and stuff like that. But I'm now really pumped for it because some of the videos online showed crazy stuff like a random wilderness just going around the freaking environment. So you've got like tigers and stuff that you can take out and destroy and stuff. And the enemies look pretty cool. Zaz, I think his name wasn't it? The crazy dude who asks you the definition of insanity over and over again. All of that seemed pretty cool. And the story, although, farcical, the Far Cry stories have always been a bit ridiculous, I still kind of like them. It's like one man survival going mental in the jungle. So, yeah, I'm kind of down for that.
I'm super psyched for this, especially, I want to see how the co-op plays as well, because they've got the co-op in there as well.
Yeah.
I want to see how well that works.
I'm quite interested to see the stealth kill kind of stuff, how complex it is to pull it off, and how skilled you need to be to kind of get behind someone, grab a knife out of their thing and throw it at an enemy.
It's not that hard. From what I was playing, it was like no one noticed me until I started firing upon them.
Right.
I think it's if you're in like the undergrowth, you can sneak up on people quite easily, but I didn't get much of a time to test it. And I wanted to, try and attack someone from behind with a knife and then throw it at someone else while I was in the middle of it, but didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Ubisoft are betting pretty big on Far Cry. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a Far Cry game, right?
Yeah.
And Far Cry 2 was loved. People loved it, So, was there any fire? Did you see any fire?
No, I didn't have any fire in there, no.
Okay, interesting. That was all Far Cry 2 had, wasn't it? It was like malaria and fire.
It was like, oh yeah.
Both of them spread.
Yeah, it was... Malaria was the problem with Far Cry 2.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it was awesome.
Taking pills is not fun as a gameplay mechanic.
So I don't want to have to go and collect this medication and take it to just carry on playing.
Yeah. Alright, well that's cool, but it looked good, I presume.
Yeah, it did look amazing.
But you're on PC version,
yeah,
so it was always gonna. But that's pretty cool. What else did you play then?
I played Tomb Raider.
How was that?
Tomb Raider was awesome.
The sort of rape game.
Yeah, wow, it is bad. It really is.
Really? They recently put out a statement saying we're not changing anything. We ain't changing shit, I believe they said.
It doesn't need to be changed. It just, after a little while, I got past it. Like how brutal that game is to her.
Yeah.
Graphically, it didn't look great, but it was sort of alpha, beta footage. It did have in the corner, stating that, it's not finished yet. And the level that they were showing is like it's really early on in the game, so it's just after she escapes from that cave that they've shown in the trailers.
Yeah, okay. It's probably a bit I've seen there. It's probably a bit I've played.
Yeah, it's the hunting section, so it's when she first gets her bow. So it's like it starts off and you've got to create a fire, get out of the rain, and then after that, when she wakes up the next day, you've got to go out and find food. That's where you pick up a bow, and you have to hunt a deer, get the meat, take it back, and cook it. But there's a whole climbing section in there where you're climbing across like a downed World War II bomber, and it works really well. The climbing, it's just the way Tomb Raider was, so you have your standard button to jump and you just carry on jumping. Right, what they have added this time though is when she jumps and occasionally her hand will slip, now you have to press X, otherwise she'll just fall off. So you've got to try and be quick to be prepared.
So how is the climbing then in comparison to Uncharted? Because fucking I hated climbing around in Tomb Raider because it was all just making jumps and then accidentally pushing back, and she'd just do that automatic step back, and all the jumps were like a set length.
Yeah.
It was more like a platformer in terms of jumping, or that you jump this distance. Whereas Uncharted was more sort of a lock-on almost. You could do different gaps, but it was the same motion for each one.
Yeah.
And then climbing, you just moved the stick around, and you kind of walked over surfaces almost like Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's not as easy to do as Uncharted was.
Right.
It's very solid and better than it was. So it's like telling her where to jump is a lot easier to do. So it's like you pull right, she looks right, and she jumps.
Yeah.
It's a lot more solid than it used to be.
What about navigating where to climb? Are there like yellow drain pipes everywhere?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to spot. It's not yellow drain pipes. It's sort of like shiny white or silver.
Okay.
So you can see roughly where you've got to climb. It's not as easy as Uncharted 3 where everything was just yellow. On this, it's pretty simple to see where you've got to jump. They do highlight it, and you can see where it is. And after that climbing section, it just shows how brutal it is. So she falls off and lands on the ground, and it sounds like she's broken her leg when she hits the deck, and you're just like, man, this game is horrible to her.
Yeah, it's not afraid to sort of show some teenage girl pain, as it were. But that's their ballsy thing that they want to do. Fair enough.
How linear is is it?
That section was quite linear up until the bit where you were hunting. And it opens up into a bigger section.
Right, but did that feel kind of arenaed? Like
It was. There was like high trees and like cliffs all around you, so you were sort of herded into an area, but it was slightly bigger. So I don't know if it opens up much more whilst playing. Tomb Raider was never really a massively open game.
It was usually quite linear.
You only got a bow and arrow in this, but the controls were solid, so aiming and firing.
Do you have to calculate for kind of arc and stuff?
It didn't appear so, but what you did have to do when using a bow is you had to hold down the left trigger, and the longer you held it, the more accurate her shot became before you fired it. So I had a reticle that got smaller.
Sure.
Yeah. As though you're pulling back the bow, I guess. Yeah. All right, yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know about Tomb Raider. I've never been a Tomb Raider fan, to be honest.
Me neither.
I used to enjoy Tomb Raider.
Yeah, this is by far the most interesting, just because, more than anything, just because graphically it's a massive leap anyway. And the reboot of the character is pretty cool. They've made her more, I quite like the story beats that they were showing of getting separated from her friends and getting attacked by, guys and stuff. It was that was more interesting. It was more like a compelling movie experience. But yeah, Tomb Raider, I'm not sure. She's not. I'd much rather play, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I'd much rather play as Nathan Drake in an Uncharted game than I would as Lara Croft in a Tomb Raider game.
I don't know. I enjoyed this, and it does have a really weird new mechanic in there that it never used to have. So now you level up Tomb Raider. I know they started to add it, but on this, there's a massive part, and there's like survival ability, so the ability to gain back arrows from fallen enemies and like drop resistance and things.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, it was like when you went back to your campfire. So it only seems to work when you're at your campfire, and it gives you points for completing missions, keeping her alive basically, and from there it just gives you those points to allocate onto survival skills. I don't know if there are other skills in there to unlock other things. All it had in there was just like survival skills at the moment. Opposite Tomb Raider, there was Hitman as well. So I had a go on that. I didn't have a massive go on it.
Yeah.
Because the level they were showing was one that they've already demoed in walkthrough videos. So it's the Chinatown level with the Kingpin, Triad Kingpin.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they showed the whole mission, I think, in a video, in a walkthrough.
So I wasn't that interested in sort of walking around when he sort of tells you, the majority of the ways to kill the guy in that. So I knew how to kill him about 4 different ways. And
I mean, that's almost exactly why they did it, right?
Yeah.
They released the video so everyone knows how to do it. So when they play it, they all go and get a good experience doing whatever they wanted to do. Yeah. So you're immediately already explained to most of the people that are going to go that this is how you do it.
Yeah, see, I just wanted to randomly walk around and have an explore myself, and playing that level really didn't appeal to me. But I did have a walk around, have a look at it, played about with fighting guards and things like that.
Yeah, well, you're a big Hitman fan.
I am,
How are you feeling about this now that you've had a brief go on it?
I really like it. It's very solid. It plays just like Blood Money did, so the controls are the same. They have added minor alterations to it, so in combat, when you used to go up to attack a guard, you just tap a button and take the gun off of them. In this, you have to sort of attack them by throwing punches, and then it will give you a quick time event to take the gun from it, and then you can fire back at them.
Okay.
It didn't look very good. This was pre-alpha footage, pre-alpha gameplay.
Really?
They were getting everything.
Because it's out soon.
Yeah, I know. That's what surprised me. It was pre-alpha footage, and it looked really, really bad. It was grainy and just looked terrible.
So it didn't look as good as the demo that they gave away with the promo.
No. It really looked...
Sniper Challenge.
Yeah. It looked terrible. I was surprised that they were
That's
showing that.
That's interesting. I mean, presumably it's just a really old build that they had there play. But I mean, the way it normally makes is when you're making these, you don't... Not every build that you make of a game when you're making it is playable in a way that you could give to the public. Right?
Yeah.
You spend an extra amount of time making a playable build for a demo, normally an event like Gamescom or whatever. And then you just kind of reuse that if you haven't got time to make another one. So this is probably an old playable demo that they had, and that's why it looks
so
shoddy,
bad.
And for something like Eurogamer, they're not going to go, let's invest loads in take developers off time to do stuff to make another thing. We just use that one again.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. But that's interesting you say it looked bad. That's not good.
Yeah, I was expecting something better than pre-alpha.
Yeah. Well, especially when's Hitman out? Well, next month or this month? It's this month.
Is it this month?
Yeah.
I thought it was
next. I thought it was October.
Yeah, I think it's the end of this month. So it doesn't send the best message to people if they're like, oh yeah, it's out soon. But, I don't know.
I also played Medal of Honor multiplayer while I was up there. It was one that me and Cheryl, who used to be on the podcast, we're massive fans of the last Medal of Honor multiplayer. Yeah. We played loads of that.
Which is bizarre because it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into this now.
Right, okay. This one shouldn't be terrible. This one they should have put more effort into, right? So, what was it like? How does it stack up against your Call of Duties and your Battlefields?
It was right. Multiplayer in an environment like that, it's really hard to judge what it's like because you're sort of sat on these tiny little seats, you're uncomfortable, you're surrounded by people.
Yeah, there's loads of distractions.
Yeah. In Medal of Honor as well, it was like it wasn't closed off like they do with most of them. They didn't have any sort of dividers between people queuing and people like playing. Everyone was like, I had people leaning over my shoulder, looking at what I was doing, telling me what to do, and it was a really uncomfortable situation. But it seemed like Medal of Honor, they seem to have increased the recoil dramatically, so they've taken bits from Battlefield in this, so they seem to be merging the two more now.
Okay, right. Is this still DICE doing the multiplayer?
No, it's all Danger Close.
Right.
This one is all Danger Close, so they built the multiplayer this time themselves. There doesn't appear to be any like damage, destruction in there, so you can't blow up buildings.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. They showed minor bits of like picking your characters, the different classes you have, different weapons. Very limited what I could get.
Sure.
I didn't manage to get to play it for the entire time because the one I was playing on crashed when I tried to change my character.
That's always good.
Yeah. It felt very solid. The gunplay was very solid. It worked well. The level was very dark, so it was hard to tell what was going on in there.
Yeah.
And the mode they were showing was like an objective-based one. So there's 5 rounds, and there's objective. One team defends and one team attacks, and you just play through the 5, and they're 4-minute rounds.
Right.
And so that's what we were playing.
But nothing. It doesn't sound like it's really doing anything that's like groundbreaking or new. Just kind of this is.
Yeah, it's just Medal of Honor more. So. I'm sure that when I get around to playing it, I'll have more of an opinion and be able to give more information. But it was alright to play.
You're not down on it this time because it was Battlefield that you was down on last time after Eurogamer last year.
Yeah, Battlefield left me
because again you was in the same sort of situation.
Yeah, Battlefield really sort of like last year. I didn't think I was going to get Battlefield, and I played the beta and I just loved it. And now I'm just like crazy amounts of Battlefield I put in. With Medal of Honor, I knew I wasn't going to get a really good impression from it from playing it this. So from what I got, it seemed alright, and so I'm looking forward to actually playing the full game because hopefully it should be pretty awesome. But we'll see when it comes out.
Tell me about Revengeance, man. Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah, so I didn't play Revengeance.
Right. Okay.
But I did have.
You did get a pen.
Yes, I got a nice. It's a very nice pen actually. I was surprised.
I'd question that. I reckon it looks like a very nice pen.
Yeah, it looks like a very nice
pen.
pen.
Don't ever try and use it; it'll break.
Oh yeah, I'm never going to use it. It looks like a very nice pen.
Okay.
But I watched about 10 minutes of this, so I was watching someone else play that I went with, and it was the best looking game I think I saw there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's had some great reviews out of it, I must admit.
Yeah. Well, not surprising now. How long have they been making this for now?
Well, yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it just looked polished. I was quite amazed with how it looked. We managed to get to see quite a bit of like the mechanics in there. So the one where you sort of slow down time and you aim your slices is awesome. When you attack a guy and you cut him in about 6 different ways and then he falls apart.
Yeah.
You also have the ability so that when you're cutting him apart, you press a button and he grabs the spine and he squeezes it, and it's what gives him the power to be able to do that.
Right.
So the more you sort of like do those attacks and you grab the spine, is the more you can do stacked up.
But can he spine grab outside of that?
No, it only appears that during that you can spine grab. When you're outside, it's like Devil May Cry, so you're just hacking away, pressing buttons, parrying attacks.
Yeah.
You weren't looking forward to this game. You were all like down on this. You were like, I love Metal Gear and fuck. I think your words were fuck Revengeance.
And my words still are fuck Revengeance, right?
Right. Okay.
Because I really hate this game.
Why?
Because it's just not Metal Gear. That's why I hate it.
It does mad.
If it didn't have the name Metal Gear, I may enjoy it more. But I'm not going to go into why I hate it. I'm just going to explain what I saw.
Yeah.
And
All right, that's fair enough.
It did have it wasn't even like a boss battle. It was like a mini boss, and like the person I was playing with couldn't get past it. It was rock solid. It was like a tiger, a mechanical tiger with a giant tail, and it was just rock solid.
It's Platinum Games, man. This is what it's like, right? Man, people have got stuck on the first boss in Vanquish. It's just like these games are tough sometimes, and they're an acquired taste.
Yeah.
They're all slicey, slow-mo bit of quick time, and everything explodes. But that's fine. That's totally awesome. I have no problem with that. I'm looking forward to it. It's ballsy. It's called Revengeance. And everything it shows is just sort of like, we don't give a fuck. And I like that.
I think I'm in the middle of these two. I think I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I think it'll be an awesome experience. We just won't have any staying power. I think that'll be it. I think I'll play it from start to finish. I'll freaking love it, and that's it. Never go back to it ever again because there's no need.
I'll buy it. I'll keep it. It will stay in my collection just for the point of my collection.
It's fair enough. So what else do you see then, Joe? Come on.
I couldn't get into the Nintendo section where they had all the Nintendo games
Just because the door too small.
No, the queue was about 2 hours long.
Okay.
And at that point, it was the last sort of few hours of the day that we were going to be there for. So I would have just mainly spent my entire time queuing and not got in. But we managed to get round the side and look in, it took a little bit of finding because there was walls all around the Nintendo section. And the bit that we managed to get to see was a guy playing Zombi U.
Okay.
And I managed to see the majority of the main features they put in there. So the guy was, scanning for items. If you watched any of the videos, sort of most of the bits and pieces, trying to hack a lock, things like that. And it showed like the system of when you get bit once you die, and then instantly starting again as a new character. So it was just instant, hit a loading screen, then just like, this is your character, gave a name, age, occupation, and he was a soldier, so he was dressed like a soldier, this new character. And it looks amazing, even from, I was like 10 feet away. It does.
That's what I'm intrigued about, man. So you saw a load of Wii U stuff in the flesh, in front of you, right? How did that graphically, and in terms of power, stack up against what you know of PS3 and 360?
It was what you'd expect from like a high-class PS3 or 360 game.
Okay.
And for, like first gen on this console, it's quite amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a machine that's out next month now, right? And it is the most powerful machine.
At the moment,
so that's interesting. I'm just, I'm curious if you can notice that in a game and go, this looks like a shit hot 360 game, then I'm interested. As long as the games are there, I'm interested.
It looks like it's going to do well. Graphically, I was surprised at how well Zombi U looked.
That's good.
What I really wanted to do was hold a gamepad, but I couldn't get one. I just wanted to see how much they weighed, and I was surprised by the machine itself because I actually got to see one because they had them on the stand itself. It's like the size of a Wii, but it's like a third longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, so, it was weird to see. It just looks like a Wii that's slightly longer.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really an issue because the Wii was tiny anyway. It's still like a nice small unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, that's kind of not what you expect. When I think of it now, it looks exactly like a Wii, but with round edges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wii U, that's kind of interesting. We'll talk a bit more about Wii U in a minute because we've got all the launch games to chat about. Anything else that you saw that just took your eye?
I did see XCOM. I really wanted to play it, but there was quite a queue for this.
So this is XCOM Enemy Unknown?
Yeah, so it was Enemy Unknown.
Right, okay, not because they announced actually this week that the first-person shooter now, the one that was badly received, is now a third-person shooter. They've moved it into a third-person shooter and nothing else is known, but...
Yeah, it's out at some point next year, I think, ain't it?
Yeah, exactly, if it comes out.
Yeah.
But XCOM Enemy Unknown, looks wicked.
Yeah, I'm psyched for this. It looks awesome. It was really weird the way they were demoing it. So it was on 360 that they were showing it, but they weren't using 360 pads. They had this weird arcade unit that had like 6 buttons and 2 joysticks, and it was all just like laid out on this table.
Really? What? So almost like a Steel Battalion controller. 2 joysticks.
Yeah, it was sort of like a Steel Battalion, but it was more like
Was this something that they were selling, or was this?
No, there was no
special controller for the game that I'm going to be able to get. It seems really weird to demo you a game with a controller that's bizarre.
It was the only machine that they were doing it on, so they were running it on PC, PS3 and 360 there.
Right.
And 360 was the only one that had this weird peripheral. So I don't know if they're going to sell it separately. There was no mention of why it had this weird...
Right.
It did have XCOM all over it, and it had like different bits written on the buttons. I didn't get a close look. So it looks like it was designed for XCOM, but there was no sort of real mention of what it was.
But 2 joysticks?
Yeah.
Why would you need 2 joysticks in XCOM?
I don't know. I think one to maybe change between characters, and another to adjust your camera.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I have to have a look into that because that sounds cool. That's already got me more interested. If it comes with, or I can get a different pad, different controller for it, I'm well up for that. XCOM would be brilliant anyway. It's out in like 2 weeks.
It looks amazing. It looks it's a beautiful looking game.
No, that's cool, Joe. All right, well let's just chat about some news that's happened just while we're on the subject before we go into educating Joe. A few little bits. Black Ops 2. They announced that their zombie mode, obviously the Treyarch Call of Duty games have been known for since World at War. Yeah, it's got an actual campaign this time round, and it looks freaking awesome. I didn't really like zombie mode. I've never really liked zombie mode.
I played a fair amount on the World at War. Didn't really play it on Black Ops.
And Black Ops, it had that cool bit because it had all the presidents. Yeah, it had the bit in
Yeah.
the Pentagon where you were the presidents and stuff. And that was kind of awesome. And the DLC was apparently very good.
Yeah, it also had that secret zombie mode that you could get into if you typed in code on the machine that you strapped to. It takes you to a twin stick shooter zombie game.
Yeah, the top down one. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, that was Tactical Ops or something like that.
Yeah.
So the zombie mode's got an actual campaign this time, and it's open world. You can drive around in a bus, just taking out zombies and like fortifying different locations. It looked like wicked.
So this is coming standard on the disc.
Yeah, this is the thing about Black Ops that I don't know if many people that don't get involved in know. The best value for money you'll ever get in a game was like Call of Duty Black Ops 1, so much shit in there because there was the top-down twin-stick shooter, which was a full-on game, which was mental. There's zombie mode that was in there. Obviously, the multiplayer and the campaign for the normal game. And Zork was in there on the computer. You could play the entire Zork.
I played
loads of stuff. Black Ops 2 has got, they just shove so much crap into it. It's unbelievable. And this looks brilliant. It's kind of like Spartan Ops, I guess, for Halo 4.
Right.
That sort of similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a co-op mode, It's almost like a new co-op mode. But that got me excited. I like Black Ops. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, but I like Treyarch's games. Black Ops 1 was a brilliant game. Black Ops 2 I'm psyched for.
Yeah, Treyarch do make a really good Call of Duty.
They make the better ones, I think.
Yeah.
They're a bit more willing to go off-piste and go a bit nuts with it, And it's also they're still the only Call of Duty games where you can run and dive to the floor.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome because you can run and dive through a window.
Right.
And it's just brilliant. There's no reason for it. You die immediately every time. But you dive through a window.
Yeah, it's why Treyarch are awesome because they have to try and push that a little bit more to be better because Activision have Modern Warfare, so they're just guaranteed to sell. They don't have to do anything. Treyarch has to try and prove themselves every time they make a new game.
I guess they. I don't know if they do now so much, but they still have the mega million backing of Activision's marketing team. Call of Duty is going to be a while before Call of Duty stops selling, isn't it? They've got to knock out maybe 3 or 4 bad games first. So NBA Live, EA's NBA Live series, which we haven't seen one in quite some time. I think NBA Live 11 was the last one.
Maybe.
Or maybe there was a 12. But anyway, NBA Live 13 or whatever this one was called, has been cancelled again. It's the second time it's been cancelled in 3 years because EA have forgotten how to make basketball games. Which is weird because EA have been king of the sports games for so long. And they just, obviously FIFA does gangbusters, Madden, brilliant, but NBA, they just can't do it. They just don't know.
Well, 2K do their own version, don't they? They do 2K.
Yeah, and 2Ks have always been good. They've always been really good, strong games. 2K13's just come, or just about to come out. And they've always been great, but it's just weird that, I don't know, the EA were trying to reinvent the NBA series with this game.
Right.
And they just can't nail it. They just keep losing it.
It's interesting.
It's gone. So, whatever. Microsoft have started up or are about to start up a reward system for the gamer score, giving you Microsoft points back for the stuff you earn, which is kind of brilliant. So different things you do on your system will earn you Microsoft points, and that's all sorts of things like sign up to Netflix and use it for a month will get you like a certain amount of points. Renewing your monthly subscription or your yearly subscription will get you like 100 Microsoft points back. Buying things, just generally spending stuff will get you points back. But the other interesting part was if your gamer score is over a certain amount, you'll also get bonuses. So there was 3 tiers. I can't remember exactly what the amounts were, but the top tier was 25,000. If your gamer score is over 25,000, which I believe all of ours is,
Yep.
You will get a special treat, a special present, gift around your birthday, probably an avatar prop of some sort, I'd have thought, and you get a 2% rebate on every purchase. On all your purchases.
That's okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you go down the next layer, which must be about about 20,000 gamer score, I think, you get 1% off purchases and a present around your birthday. And if you're below 15,000, you get a present around your birthday. It's cool stuff. I think it's kind of nice. It's kind of a wicked way of doing it. I mean, there's a lot of things like if I refer a friend to Xbox Live, I'll get points for it. You're only getting nominal amounts of like 20 points. Some of them are 100. One of them was like 400, I think. But it's basically the more you use your Xbox, they're just going to give you stuff back. I'm absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, I never thought they would actually do it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because I had the idea years ago.
Yeah, well, and so did everyone with any loyalty program, I suppose. But yeah, it's why not? It's no different to it's no different to saving up your Cafe Nero stamps, or
very much so.
ESO tokens back in the day.
Using your reward card in in any retailer.
Yeah, your Nectar card or something. It's it's cool. So I'm kind of glad. I don't know when it's all kicking off, but they've announced all the details, so it's got to be fairly soon. I'd imagine probably when the new dashboard launches for it.
Most likely, yeah.
Other stuff then that's happened. Mass Effect Trilogy is coming out. Yeah, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I don't give a damn about Mass Effect, and most people have played all three, except for PS3 owners. Never got the first one. Wii U owners only get the third one at launch. Yeah. It's like, so it's kind of a way of going, everyone getting the same. I just find it interesting that the first Mass Effect game was a Microsoft Game Studios published game.
Obviously Microsoft exclusive.
And you never expected that to go to the PS3.
No.
And it's going to. So it's
that's quite interesting.
I
wonder how they got around it.
Well, I think EA just went, we'll have the rights and that's it. Microsoft don't need it anymore, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have it anymore because obviously 2 and 3 were EA published. But I think that'll work. You'd go back and play 1. 1 is massively different to 2 and 3.
It's seriously
right?
hard to play.
But at least this is one of the only times I can think of a trilogy of games that have all been on the same platform.
Yeah.
Same generation, that is. I mean, they haven't spanned over generations. Assassin's Creed's another one that's done it, actually. But yeah, so you could, in theory, go back and play a prequel. It'd be quite cool if you've played through 2 and 3 to go back and play through 1 and see what people are referencing that your character has done in the later games, It's not a bum deal for PS3 users.
No.
It's not ideal, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea. Because 1 has a lot in it.
Yeah, and that's quite a nice. It's quite a nice set to be able to get. Yeah, cool. Final trilogy, all done, one nice set.
I'll probably buy it.
I'm keen. I'm curious. It's a good way to jump in. Some Halo 4 stuff, man. Because Halo 4 is coming, and I am psyched for it. And I can't believe you didn't play it at Eurogamer, Joe.
I apologise for not playing it.
That's okay, but it's just shocking. It's so close. It looks awesome. They announced, they showed off they're showing new maps, man, because it's so close to launch. Everything's just like information leak, just not leaking, but just like constant stream of information to the public. So they're showing off a new map every day at the moment, new multiplayer maps, and new modes. They haven't got to Forge mode yet, but they'll talk about that at some point. They showed off the one remake map that's shipping with the game, which is Valhalla. Valhalla from Halo 3. It's been remade as Ragnarok. It looks awesome. Really, there's a video up online that really shows the graphical difference between Halo 3 and 4 and how much 4 still just blows the shit out of everything graphically. It's nuts.
Yeah, it does look amazing.
So that was cool, but then the coolest thing about it was the giant mech that was in one of the other levels, one of the first levels they showed, a spaceport level that was just kind of in the centre of a multiplayer level, and you just thought it was beast scenery, is in Ragnarok, and you can get into it. It's a whole new vehicle. It's a Metal Gear. It is a Metal Gear. It's got a rocket launcher on one arm, it's got a machine gun on the other arm, and it's fucking amazing. It can stomp on ghosts.
It looks pretty damn cool.
It does look good, yeah.
And that's like a game changer. That's like, what? I look forward to that in the campaign where I'm going through a whole level with that, destroying everything, because that's bound to happen, right?
When you told me, I guess they must put it into the campaign at some point. I mean, when you told me about it before I actually watched the video, I was expecting the mech to be physically larger in comparison to other vehicles than it actually is. So when you use it steps on a ghost, I was like, man, the ghost, it's got to be massive, right?
Oh, right, so its whole foot finishes it. Yeah, it's not
it kind of steps into it.
It's still pretty big.
It's still pretty
It's
big.
like, it's probably like 2 or 3 times the size of a Scorpion tank.
Yeah, but I wonder how it would fare against a Scorpion tank in a fight.
Yeah, well, it's got similar weapons, right? It's got rockets on it.
Yeah.
I think what they've said is that the rockets take quite a while to reload and the gun will overheat.
Right.
But it's apparently not overpowered. You're okay with it. You're quite susceptible to being jacked, I think, on it.
Right.
And turning is quite difficult or
Yeah.
quite sluggish. So, people can strafe around you. So it shouldn't be a game breaker. And I wouldn't expect them to bring game breakers in now.
No.
The team seems to know exactly what they're doing, and Halo seems to be in bloody good hands. But it's awesome. Mechs are awesome, and mechs in Halo, yes please. And it can crouch. The video shows it teabagging.
It does.
Yeah.
And
a
it's
single person that is stomped on.
So if it can crouch, that makes me think, can it jump? Because if it can jump, then the crazy shit that's going to happen in that is awesome. I can't wait. So that's cool. Wii U, we talked about Wii U earlier, launch games. Man, launch games. Wii U is launching day one. Obviously, they said that there was loads of games coming out over the launch window, right?
Yeah.
Which is like anything from now until March. Which is
it's generally about
crazy.
3 months, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bonkers. But it's actually got 23 games coming out at launch, on launch day, which is a pretty good lineup, in terms of like the amount.
It's relatively strong, certainly.
So I thought we'd just have a look at those games and see what they are and just give our opinions on them. First one's Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Yeah, cool, why not? It's a big game.
Yeah, doing well.
Might as well. First time to have like a proper, like it's proper
Call of
debut
Duty,
on a Nintendo console, which is kind of cool. Skylanders Giants. I don't know much about that. It's just Skylanders, right?
Skylanders 2, yeah.
But with like bigger things. Skylanders
they're big figures instead of dinky figures.
And Skylanders is fucking huge.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's not going to hurt.
It's pretty good. Skylanders is pretty good. I had a brief go on it around a friend's house because their kid was playing it all the time, and it's not bad. It's they've nailed exactly what they needed to nail about the Pokemon addiction stuff to get it right, and yeah, it's cool. Transformers Prime, which is another Transformers game.
Is it like a War 4 version sort of game, or is it an entirely new franchise?
New game, totally new game. Same franchises, Transformers.
Right.
It's
a spin-off, a subtitle.
No, it's totally a new game. Wipeout 3.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Wipeout was.
I don't think that's
a different
futuristic.
Wipeout. Right.
Futuristic
I
ships.
think it's like total Wipeout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disney Epic Mickey 2, Power 2. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's quite a strong game. FIFA 13, obviously.
Standard.
Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Wii U edition.
Yeah, I guess it's multi-platform now, isn't it? It's no longer Sony.
Got your fighting game down. New Super Mario Brothers U. It's the Here's Your Mario game. Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. Razor's Edge, man. It sounds like an album. Again, fairly hardcore, right? Nintendo Land, that's their minigame collection, which is apparently pretty good, from what I've heard. People have been saying good stuff about it.
The Nintendo minigames, like Wii Sports and stuff, were always relatively good.
Oh, I think you could say that arguably they're probably the best thing on the systems. They've always been incredibly good. But Nintendo Land looked a bit dodgy at E3.
Right.
But it was kind of their way of going, look, here's a load of brands that we haven't put games out for, like Kid Icarus and Luigi's Mansion and stuff, and they're in here in some form, Sing Party, those always worked on Wii platforms, right?
Yeah, ridiculously well.
Yep. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. That looks awesome. I'm actually really excited for that. I think that's on other platforms though as well. A lot of these games are cross-platform, that's the thing. But that was just Diddy Kong Racing, I guess. Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper, man. How can Warriors Orochi still be doing this stuff? Darksiders 2. If you haven't played it, come get some.
Yeah, I knew it was coming on it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to tell you what games are coming out.
Okay.
I'm trying to talk about them. Assassin's Creed 3.
It's a pretty good one for it.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, a lot of these games are just games that are on every console. So, it's kind of just the Wii's never been included in that before properly. It's kind of like here's the machine. Why not? And a lot, some developers are going, it's our best version because it's the most powerful machine. So, why not? But are you going to buy a new console for that? That's the point.
Yeah.
If you've already got a 360 or a PS3, then I can play a lot of these games already, and I don't have to spend 170 quid or 250 quid or whatever on buying a new machine for it. Anyway, ESPN Sports Connection, which is a sports game. I don't know what it is. It was previously Sports Connection before they got the ESPN license. That's all I know. Just Dance 4, phenomenally popular dancing.
Yeah, it'll do well.
Yeah. Rabbids Land.
I hate Rabbids.
Is that another minigame collection? It sounds like a minigame collection.
I think it is, yeah.
Some of them are full games, Rabbids.
Yeah, but recently a lot of them have just been minigames, right? And the Wii's always had just so many.
Yeah.
I feel like too many of these might be that. Your Shape Fitness Evolved 2013. Was Your Shape... I thought Your Shape was a 360 game.
It's on 360.
It is on 360, but I did think it started on Wii.
Okay. Zombie U, which obviously you said looks good, Joe.
Yep.
Scribblenauts Unlimited. I like Scribblenauts games. It doesn't sound like a game that's going to take much advantage of the power. No. Really, but they're pretty cool. Game Party Champions, which suggests to me minigame collection.
Yeah. Yep.
And Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, if you've not played it. So that's not a bad lineup. If this is your first console, in fact, that's a brilliant lineup. It's just if you owned any other console that maybe there's not too much to tempt you away.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a Wii to play Call of Duty Black Ops, Darksiders 2, games that have either already been out and are coming out on systems that are 5 years old or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, out of that lineup, there is like a couple of titles I would purchase if I was buying a console at launch. But I don't think there's a killer app there yet.
No, I don't expect there to be, but I think I'm going to get one. I'm thinking more and more like I'm going to get one.
I would like to get one because they've got some awesome titles there that I'd like to play, but It's just expensive, you know.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. The price doesn't bother me. It's the cost of a new console, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's not like if it was coming out going, that's £500, then I'd be going, damn, you know. But it's the price of a console. It's a one-time fee. It's just whether it's gonna. I don't know. This makes me feel better that it's not going to go the same route of the Wii, right? Where I bought one and I never touched it.
Sure.
This at least looks like I might occasionally buy it. You just go, oh, I might buy that on this.
Yeah.
If I don't really care about any multiplayer stuff or anything that I'm going to need my 360 for, then yeah, I might pick up Darksiders 2 on the Wii U. But there is a couple of games that you're not going to be able to play elsewhere. You know, the Nintendo stuff that is going to be good, it would be nice to play. Nice, and I'm still keen to see Nintendo stuff in HD.
Mm.
So have they still not really kind of announced what the online side of the console is yet?
No.
That's worrying for games like Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, it was worrying for a console that's coming out in a month.
Yeah.
For them to not be talking about their online strategy. There were rumours online that they'd completely scrapped it and gone back to the drawing board. Not like yesterday, a while ago.
Sure.
But I don't know. But then there's also, every now and then you get a quote from a developer saying, yeah, Nintendo's online stuff is badass. But I don't know, I can't for the life of me fathom why they've not talked about it.
Yeah.
Because
it is massive. It's massive aspects of consoles now.
Yeah. Yeah, and this does happen. Sony didn't talk to us when I was on the magazine circuit back in the day. Sony didn't talk to us about the PS3 at all before launch. They just barely showed it. It was done, but they were, running around like headless chickens at that point. So
sure.
It does happen. It's difficult. There's a lot to do. But yeah, I would really like to see some online stuff for the Wii U to know what I'm dealing with, because that's a competitive space that's difficult to master.
Yeah.
And it needs to do a lot, especially if it's going to do, your big multiplayer games.
I'm sure we'll find out one way or another relatively soon.
Yeah. All right, one last thing then before we go into Educating Joe. We went to cinema to see Dread. We obviously had the wonderful trailers for the movie. And one of the trailers was for Paranormal Activity 4.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine. If you either like Paranormal Activity films or you don't. I personally love them. But that's fine. What was odd about this trailer was it's basically a massive advert for Kinect.
Yeah, it seems that way.
It's like it has. So obviously, each Paranormal Activity movie has to have a thing that grounds it, and the way they look for the ghosts or spy on them and stuff. And this one all is based around turning Kinect on. There's like a bit in the trailer where kids like, "Yo, do you want to see something cool that Kinect does?" And then they turn on the Kinect, cut the lights, and they're looking at it through like a night vision cam, and you just see all the dots project on the room how Kinect tracks you, and that's where the ghosts sort of materialise and does. It was weird. It was like. It's in 2 scenes in the trailer, which is 2 different scenes from the movie.
It seems a lot of Kinect just for 1 minute 30 of a trailer.
Yeah, it's sort of like, has Microsoft paid for that? Or is that Paranormal Activity's idea? It's just strange. Because people don't know that Kinect does that.
Yeah.
Joe didn't know anything about it. He was like, what do you mean Kinect fires a load of dots all over the room?
I knew you could do that, I just didn't know how to do it.
Okay, yeah. So basically, you just turn on your Kinect and then look into the room through either night vision goggles or a night shot mode on a
camcorder.
Yeah, so it's just kind of nuts. It was just like, why is that in the movie? It's a really obvious thing. Well, who says want to see something cool that Kinect does? Like that's not how people talk in real life, right? People go, what the fuck is that? What is Kinect? Should we do some Educating Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Joe. He didn't play many video games as a child. He was too busy out running and jumping through fields, perhaps stealing apples. But then one day, he found himself inexplicably on a video game podcast, and 2 guys, Mike and Shaun, vowed to take him back through time to play the games he missed. This is Educating Joe. All right, Cyborg Justice on the Megadrive.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to be brief on this one, aren't we, Joe?
We are, yes.
You've not played it maybe as much as you should have done.
No. I should have played it a lot more than I managed to.
Yeah, you didn't play it, did you, Joe?
No.
So this really isn't Educating Joe at all. It's more just sort of shouting at Joe.
It's mainly Joe makes a massive cock up and forgets.
That's fine, we can still tell you about Cyborg Justice. I played a lot of Cyborg Justice as a kid. It's a Sega Megadrive game. I have no idea who this game is made by.
No. I don't even know where my copy came from. I don't remember buying it.
It wasn't a huge game. It wasn't everywhere. It's actually not maybe the greatest game at all. But I like the core sort of concepts of it. It's basically a side-scrolling brawler, a la Double Dragon, Turtles in Time, or any of that sort of stuff. But you're robots on like an alien world, and you just kind of walk along slowly from left to right, and occasionally a robot will come in and you just beat him up. And that's kind of it. That's literally all you do.
Yeah.
But then it also has a one-on-one combat mode where you can fight, like Double Dragon, just fight, your buddy. But what makes it cool is you get to customize your robots. You get to build your own robot beforehand. So you can choose a variety of parts from their heads to their arms, legs, and body types, right? And that means attaching different weapons. So it might be like a rocket gun type thing or a buzzsaw, yeah. And that's quite cool. It gives you a nice little customization. There's not many options, but it's still pretty cool. And then as you go through the game, when you're side-scrolling, going from left to right, you can, if you catch someone at the right moment when they go for you to punch you or hurt you, you can grab their arm and you can remove it. Okay, and that's cool. You just pull their arm straight off, and then they don't have that weapon anymore. But then it gets even better if you can switch that weapon with yours.
Yeah.
So you can be like, that's how you get your power-ups. You'd be like, I want that rocket now, I'll have that on me. That's awesome. In two-player co-op, not co-op, but two-player one-on-one fighting, that's brilliant because you're just disarming people all the time. It's just you're constantly trying to get that essentially a counter move, I suppose, to try and disarm them, and I love that.
I really wish I did play it because it does just sound awesome.
It's not awesome. It's worth knowing it's not awesome, but it does have some really cool ideas. The music's all right, if I remember correctly, but apart from that, graphically it doesn't even look that hot.
It's quite an ugly game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, all the backgrounds are just like cratered planets with like a red sky and like purple ground. It's just, there's not a lot to it visually. But I love the name. It's called Cyborg Justice. Like someone's got to dish out justice to these cyborg fools. And yeah, you get to build robots.
It's awesome to build robots.
Did you ever collect that magazine where you got a bit of robot every month, Joe?
No, I didn't. No. The closest I've got to building robots was Robot Wars on PS2, which was awesome.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was awesome. It was alright. It could have been better, but it's
when I was like 14, it was awesome.
Sticking guns and weapons on stuff is cool. That's the core basics of what makes this game cool. It's like I'm just sticking bits that I want on things. And yeah, I played it forever. Yeah, my brother just played it all the time, and we played it based on the fact that we looked cool. We thought, and it didn't look good. It just, the concept was good. Then we're just like, I kind of love that, and it was fun one-upping each other to pull off weapons.
Yeah, I do remember there being like a weapon that everyone wanted when you was playing like two-player co-op, and one robot would come on with it. It might have been a laser gun arm that both of you would try and dash for it and get that as fast as possible because you both wanted it. And when you're playing co-op, can you rip the arms off your allies as well?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I remember a lot of arm stealing going on as well from your buddy. It was a fun game to play in co-op. I don't know if it had the same sort of joy to it single player. I think it's something that you have fond memories if you. If
it's not. I like to say it's just not very good, man. It's not very good. It's bland. It's quite hard. For a start, the one-on-one fighting, which was, I think, one of the best bits about it, was kind of just like tacked on. It was like it wasn't supposed to be there. It was like, we can do this as well, so that's in there, and that's it. It was just bare bones. But you should play it if you like robots and ripping stuff. The animations were cool. When you get a buzzsaw on someone's arm and it just is sawing through it, it's kind of nice. It's literally like a Black & Decker saw on the side of him. The robot designs as well were crap. They looked like ants.
The spindly legs and stuff.
Yeah. So that wasn't great. But play it, Joe.
Yeah, no, I'll have a go before next week.
All right, good.
That means we'll have double educating Joe next week.
Well, we won't talk about Cyborg Justice next week. We'll just make sure Joe's played it. Next week, though, we're going to play another game, which is interestingly, we can play all this one on our 360s.
Yep.
Because this Friday, Nights into Dreams is out. The old Sega Saturn classic.
Yeah.
This game is kind of weird, Joe.
Is
but,
it?
I'm psyched to see it in HD. I'd be curious to see what it's like in HD.
I can't even think of a genre that you'd put Nights into.
Puzzle? No. Yeah, I don't know. It's just awesome. Floating around, going through hoops and stuff. Weird, man. Weird. Had a whole pad devoted to it when it came out on Saturn. Special Nights pad that had an analog stick on it.
Okay.
Like a Dreamcast pad. So that's cool. Yeah, it's out on Friday. It's 800 points. We'll all be picking that up and we'll be talking about that next week. So look out for that.
I will.
Okay, that was Educating Joe, and that is episode 37 of Things We Play. A bit of a mixed bag this episode, I think. It's kind of everywhere. There's all stuff all over the place. I'm not going to edit it as much as normal. I'm going to kind of just leave bits in. I'm just going to leave it. Let it go. Let it fly.
Be raw.
Yeah, why not? Be Eddie Murphy raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Which always reminds me of Michael Jackson.
It's the hard one to get. Raw thing.
The suit or the DVD?
The DVD.
You can get it everywhere now.
No, yeah, now.
Yeah, but back
magic
in
of the internet.
Back in the day, yeah, it was like, oh man, yeah.
Because it says, I can't remember what it was. It was the issue. Mr. T, I think. The whole Mr. T ripping your balls off with his arse cheeks. I think that was the reason it was hard to get hold of. I think Mr. T made it hard to get hold of. He just had all of them.
Himself.
Got the whole A team in on it.
It makes sense, man. I pity the fool. So, yeah, next week, what's happening next week? There's some games coming out this week, but I don't know what. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Can anyone remember anything that we said was coming out?
Sonic 2.
Oh, hell yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit, that's out, yeah.
Definitely this week, yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2 is this Friday on XBLA. Nights, but what about full releases?
I don't know about full releases.
Resident Evil 6 came out today.
Yeah,
Just Dance 4.
Right. Okay, see, there's stuff.
Yeah.
There's stuff out there. We'll be playing some games. I might pick up Resi 6, actually, because that's either brilliant or terrible. And at the moment, there's a lot of, like, I don't know. What I do know about that game is, regardless of whether it's good or bad, there's a lot of game in there.
Right.
Like, a lot of game. It's like it's got like 3 separate campaigns, each of which is kind of the length of one campaign.
Right.
So it looks like, there could be some good value.
On a bum note for Resident Evil 6, man, what was the advert about at the beginning of Dread?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
It's just like a 2-minute advert of people praying in various different languages.
We established from going to the cinema this week that basically to make an advert you don't have to do anything. You just get some arty music and some random shots and just put it together and then put Audi at the end.
This one didn't even have music.
Right.
It had a door being kicked in right at the very end, and then Resident Evil 6. So great, thanks Capcom. Fuck you.
I'm pretty sure Resident Evil has terrible adverts, no matter what. Anyway.
Well, what was weird about this advert was actually while it was playing, I thought, is this an ad for a Resident Evil movie? Which shows how bad it was in comparison. And it was like, no, it's for the game, and you're like, great. Good one. 2 birds, 1 stone.
It did show the Resident Evil movie trailer as well.
Yeah, it's true. That's
where
true.
It's like a Sony PlayStation PS Vita advert.
I forgot about that. The product placement in it. It's like it's all Sony products, isn't it? And then it comes back
this
to
is
Alice.
my world. This is my world.
Oh yeah, that's the trailer for the newest film.
Yeah. So that was an odd one as well. So yeah, there's some stuff coming out next week. We're gonna play some stuff. You're going to get F1, you reckon?
I'm going to try to, yes.
Yeah, I want Rocksmith, because Rocksmith's out now. I really want Rocksmith, but it's like 55 quid, which seems harsh.
Because
for like another...
the mod you need for your guitar, basically.
Yeah, it comes with a little adapter, doesn't it, to plug straight in. But I'm curious about that, because I want to get my bass out and play it on there.
Does anyone know how much it is with a guitar?
You can't buy it with a guitar.
Okay. They didn't make a specific guitar for it.
No, because it uses real ones.
All right. Okay.
I don't know if you can use other stuff for it, but I don't think so. I don't think you can use like a rock band guitar for it. I think it is just you have to have a real guitar.
I would have thought so, because it's all string based, isn't it?
So so I'd be curious to see what that's like. I do want to give that a go. In the meantime, anyone out there, if you want to get in touch with us, you can always email us at thingsweplay@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at thingsweplay. Do check out the website, www.thingsweplay.net. We're uploading a bunch of stuff. We're going to put a load of Joe's photos from Eurogamer up there, including an awesome picture of Joe's severed head floating.
Yes.
On a tropical beach.
We've not seen,
No.
but Joe tells us about, and we're just keen to see Joe's head separated from his body. So we're putting those up, so do go there and check that out. 7 days time, we'll see you
Again.
next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.